welcome to this evening's Meet the Manager event. As always, we have these type of things. We're always blessed with the fact that we've got Rob Phillips standing today, which is Chris Walton from BBC Stroke Radio Wales, and we can give him a warm welcome, please. And I know you've seen him quite a bit for those who've been to the various games, but we can give a warm welcome to our new manager, Graham Coughlan, please. Chris is going to take us on a bit of a journey for the next 45 minutes and an hour, and then we'll open it up to the floor then of any questions you've got, Graham, or indeed any of us as well. Okay, so sit back and enjoy the evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank everybody for that lovely welcome. Thanks to everyone watching on YouTube as well. I have to rearrange the feed for my next negotiations, which is nothing, by the way, but you never know, I might get a coffee on Saturday. Yeah, as Mr. Foxall was saying, no Rob Phillips, unfortunately. Very sorry to disappoint you. He is currently packing for Qatar, and his World Cup on. Wales have qualified. No, it's fantastic. Time to be involved in Welsh football, and the whole nation getting excited for the World Cup. But obviously, matters continue at Newport County. Of course, Newport County ex-loan player as part of the travelling squad to Doha as well, and Ollie Cooper, and Jordan James and Tony James as well. So there are county connections out there. But our focus tonight will be on what's happening here with the manager. Ben, right, yeah, but we don't talk about England, do we? Very good point. Yeah, focus tonight will be on Newport County and the manager, who I'm delighted to meet for the first time. Is a meet the manager, literally, in my case. I've not managed to make a press conference since Graham Coughlan was appointed. So, lovely to meet you, Graham. How are you?
I'm okay. Under the circumstances. Nice to meet you too.
Circumstances being the wonderful Newport weather that's welcomed you there.
The weather, the traffic, and not winning on Saturday.
Yeah, very good points. We can do something about winning next time. I'm not sure we're going to do anything about the weather or the traffic, unfortunately. One thing at a time. But I thought, seeing that it's the first time a lot of you would have heard the manager speak since taking over here at County, I thought rather than just concentrate on what's happening at the club and his thoughts on the team, which we will get to, I thought it would be really nice to explore some of Graham's backstory, because I'm intrigued. It's a long-ranging one, 19 years as a pro. I think there's 11 different clubs, something like that. So yeah, we'll get into that in a little while. And don't worry, I have got my score alerts on my phone, because of course Derby County Talking are playing tonight. The winners, a very lucky trip here on a Sunday in a few weeks' time. Don't worry, the manager has sent his staff to make sure that one's covered. This is the point where I ask you, who would you prefer? You tend to say, it doesn't really matter, it's all about us. Should we do that? Who would you prefer, Graham? Derby. Why not, isn't it? Why not?
Well, I think it'd be a great occasion. It'd be a great atmosphere, and obviously the tradition and history that Derby County have as a football club. And it'd be great to have them here to host our players. I know it's certainly look forward to it, and I'm sure the fans would as well.
Yeah, there's a great tradition of
has to be a few more on the gate, so the chairman will be happy.
Yeah, we'll talk about January in a bit. The great tradition of cup runs here. We're all hoping there's going to be another one, perhaps. Look, I touched upon it. You've had a very interesting career, shall we say. A Dubliner, haven't shaken the accent, clearly, despite leaving when you were, 20, 21, something like that, and you were at Bray Wanderers, and you were spotted by Blackburn Rovers, who were Premier League champions at the time.
Yeah, I was playing with Bray. I was working. I was studying to be an electrician. Getting out there in the morning at 7 o'clock and starting at a bus stop, lashing around. And sometimes the bus just passes you by, it was full, and you get splashed in the puddle. So I've been through it all, to be fair. So yeah, I was studying to be an electrician, playing part-time football. at Grey Wonders, League Ireland, and I got a phone call to say, I thought it was one of the lads, joking actually, to be fair, saying that Blackburn Rovers were at our last game. They invited us across, so I said, yeah, on your bike. So I put the phone down and it rang again. I said, you stop winding me up, like, so as you do, I suppose it's only natural. But yeah, it wasn't until actually Kenny Dalglish came on the phone, and I was like, wow, this can't be true, really, to be fair. Things like this don't happen to me, to you lads, and I did honestly think I missed the opportunity, missed the chance. So he asked us over, and the rest is history, really.
I have to say, the chairman's eyes lit up when you said you're training your electricians. Now writing a list of jobs you can get on with. But look, you signed for Blackburn Rovers, but am I right in thinking that there was a bit of a drama on your journey over to try and sign, and you missed the flight?
I didn't miss the flight, my dad did. My ma worked for years and years, and she saved up really, really hard to get herself a car. And she always wanted to drive, but obviously couldn't afford things like that. So she saved up, and anyway, she got a car, and she only had it a week. My dad took me out to the airport, and he only smashed the thing up, didn't he? It crashed. So he had to go out to the hospital. He got a head injury, cut in the head, and a bit of sense knocked into him. But yeah, he missed the flight. He didn't come over when I was signing and all that, so he missed that occasion really. But lo and behold, we got my man's car sorted anyway, and we got her on the road. So she was buzzing. She's still a terrible driver, but she's I don't know how she's still on the road, but and she probably still has the same car as well.
I'm sure the dents are proud ones, knowing that their lad went on the side for such a club as Blackburn. You didn't make any Premier League appearances.
Cheers.
No worries. But come on, that dressing room, Alan Shearer, Chris Sutton, and the youngsters as well around the time. What Shea Gibbon would have been around that time, Danny Duff.
Yeah, we did a real big Irish contingent over there at the time. There was quite a lot of us there. I was on the bench. I made quite a few. Got on the bench quite a few occasions. But if the truth be known, and look, I probably wasn't good enough to play in the Premier League. That if I'm being honest. I probably didn't apply myself in the correct manner. I took disappointment harshly. I didn't deal with disappointment. I didn't deal with rejection when I didn't make the squad on a Friday. So I said this to the lads. I know exactly where they're coming from when they're not in the team and when they're not in the squad. And so I do have a bit of empathy towards them on occasions like that. But yeah, I didn't. And I have to be honest. I look back now, hindsight is probably, as we say, hindsight is probably the best manager you can play for. I look back now and I say why and how and if only, and if I had that chance again, I probably would have applied myself better. And I probably would have changed one or two of my living habits, if that makes sense. But I suppose we can all say that. We can all look back and wait and say, we should have done this, we should have done that. But hey, lesson learned, and I moved on. And I learned later on that the hard work and the dedication that was needed to carry out a career. And I do kick myself for it. The two regrets I live with is one, not getting an Ireland cap, and two, not getting a Premier League appearance. And like I say, what's meant for you doesn't pass your word. So I was obviously not good enough to gain either of them.
Well, it's certainly a life lesson and something you can pass on as a manager. It's great to see some of the academy products in the building today. It's definitely valuable advice. But you did carve out yourself a career, a bit of a journey. You ended up in Livingston for a little bit, and then making a long trip down to Plymouth, where I was looking, and of course you know the clubs do the greatest ever players, etc., etc. And they celebrate 100 years of Plymouth. I think you were voted their #1 ever centre back. That's
What do you mean, you think?
You have to be sure. I
am. Let me just remind you.
Yes,
Yeah, that was. I got an opportunity. I got loaned to Swindon, who was in the championship. Had a handful of games with them, and then I got an opportunity to go to Scotland with Livingston, and I was very, very fortunate. We went from League 2 in Scotland to League 1, and then into the Championship and into the Premier League. So we bounced. We went right through. I signed them. They only had one stand, and they only had about 250 supporters. By the time I left, we had the whole stadium was complete, and they were probably taking in about 2,500, 3,000. So just to see the club grow, just to see it develop was an unbelievable experience, to be honest. But it was cold up there, let me tell you. It was very cold in Scotland. And then, I got an opportunity to come back to England through Paul Sturrock. My missus was pregnant, and I jumped in the car and went to Plymouth. I don't know how that happened. It was nothing to do with me. But she came down. She had to pack up the house in Scotland all on her own. She had to travel down to Plymouth all on her own. And I was down below. And that was it was an unbelievable 5-year series whereby we just I don't know, we were just untouchable really. Anything that I touched was time to go for me. Really, one of the purple patches you have in your life or in your career. If I said to you, I ended up top goal scorer. If I said to you, we kept 28 clean sheets, Player of the Year, League Two Player of the Year. The accolades was unbelievable that we received. That I got myself personally and as a team, and I couldn't make it up really, to be honest. But it did. It was an unbelievable 4-5 year career, and 4 or 5 years down there, we went from probably similar situation to we have inherited here at the football club. We went all the way through there, and we were 21st, 22nd in League Two when I joined. When I left, we were 9th in the Championship. So it was great growth in that as well. It was a lot of hard work as well, and obviously I'd love to emulate that as a manager.
Yeah, it was incredible journey. How can you get to be top scorer as a centre back? A lot of set pieces, or did you just? Yeah.
It was I was a bit daft. I still am. I used to just charge at things and they used to just hit off me and go in the net. To be honest, a little bit more to it than that. But I suppose I keep saying it to our players as well. When you go in the box, go in with purpose, go in with bravery, go in as if you want to head the ball, go in with a desire. They've not quite got that yet, but it's look and quality delivery as well from the teammates helps, and the occasional goalkeeping mistake. So it's all part of the game. So I was fortunate. I was fortunate that I picked up some goals and some accolades and some awards as well.
Yeah, you could have got away with it and said, "Oh yeah, I dribbled out from the edge of the box and took on 4 players."
There's no way I would have got away with that. No chance. These people would have known that. No, I would have been televised.
As you said, incredible time. You then went to Sheffield Wednesday and spent some time there. And it's somewhere that you pretty much made your home with your family.
Yeah, the kids were at an age where they started going to school. Making friends and going to school, and it was at that stage where my missus just said to me, "Listen, we're going to have to put roots down somewhere." So we got a good group of friends, nice area, and the kids went to school. They started meeting people and that. And that would have broke my heart if I had lifted them up and brought them all around the country with me and chopped and changed them from school to school. So we decided to set roots, and that was it. I've been on the road ever since. I've just been nomad. I've just been no fixed address. I've just been travelling everywhere. And on the odd occasions I do get home. I love getting home. It's tough. Everybody sees football as, I think we all see the Premier League and the cars and the houses and things like that. Let me tell you, it's far from that. It's totally different. You spend a lot of time on the road. You spend a lot of time. You make a lot of sacrifices. You spend a lot of time away from your family, and those things hurt. I don't get them years. I'll never get them years back with my kids. I left home. I was holding my child, changing nappies. I went back there a couple of weeks ago, and now she's driving a car. So it's amazing how the kids grow up. No, it is. Kids grow so fast, and you got to cherish them, and you got to memories and those family times. You know, they're special times. And I honestly didn't have enough of them. I didn't see them enough, and I didn't spend enough time with them. And I do miss them times. I do miss them occasions. And I say to people, I go home and I read a bedtime story to my doctor, and people are looking at me and saying, "What's the big deal?" Well, it's a big deal to me because I don't do it, and I've never done it. I don't do it that often, whereas other parents maybe get that opportunity to do it quite a lot. A lot of footballers have been in the same boat and have sacrificed family and things like that for a career, and that's why I'm obviously determined to make the best and the most of what little talent or little ability I've been raised with.
It must be something key to take into your management then, a perspective, I guess, because you're not just a manager on a Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock or when you're on the training ground, you're a manager of people, of these footballers that have lives, have issues outside of work, I guess.
Yeah, we had it a couple of weeks ago. We had two lads had brilliant, got two great gifts. We had a couple of kids, Matty Dolan and Adam Lewis. And the first thing I've done to them, I just said to them, get yourselves up to now, get yourselves some time with the missus and the kids, make sure they're all right, make sure that the family is okay and there's no problems and there's no issues. I don't need to see it on Monday. Come and meet up with us on Tuesday. I think it was Mansfield, must have been Mansfield, Tuesday in the hotel. I said, I don't need to see it on Monday. Go and spend time with them, and cherish them and enjoy them. And they're two lads living away from home, they're two lads away from their families. And they probably the first 2-3 weeks of their kids' lives, they haven't seen, they probably seen the child once or twice over that period. And that's tough. That is tough as a parent. Not only a parent, but the footballer living away.
Am I right in thinking that one of your kids is following in your footsteps? Is it Shannon who plays for Sheffield Wednesday?
She's actually signed for Sheffield United. we can't say that too loud. Yeah, she was with Sheffield Wednesday. She's going all right. She's doing well, and obviously Sheffield United is in the higher division. So she was invited to go across, and she just looked at me, and I just looked at her. My son is a season ticket holder with Sheffield Wednesday as well, so you can imagine the atmosphere in our house. So yeah, she's brilliant. She's great. I love her to bits. She's a bit daft. She doesn't listen to me. She just does her own thing, and like all kids, I suppose, she knows it all. She's yourself. That's what kids do. But I know she got a great goal last week as well. We played with Barnsley, and she got a brilliant goal. She left foot as well, so I'll have to check the bits in.
What position?
She's a striker. Well, I was going to go pace. So I'm definitely checking the way it's at.
Because every time I look up a description of you as a player, and I do remember you playing, it's rugged, no nonsense, all these adjectives come out. If you were to describe yourself as a player, what would you say?
To the left and back.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I don't know. I suppose I'm honest. I'm hard working, but it's honesty and hard working. You need a little bit more than that to probably to forge a career for yourself. I put an awful lot of time in. Obviously, my experiences at Blackburn, what I learned from Blackburn, I put a lot of time in. I never actually took a Wednesday off when I was a player. I used to like going in and preparing myself and doing my own things. I'm 6'2" and I big lump of a man. I had to move my feet, so I used to do quite a lot of that on a Wednesday. Just get my own preparation right. But I don't know. I suppose bravery. Honest, hard working. I was all right actually. I wasn't. I'll put myself down. I was okay as a player. I wasn't that bad, but I could cope. I loved the physical side of it. I loved the battle. When I finished playing, actually, I struggled a little bit. Not in life. I was lucky because I was still in football, but I struggled with the lack of physicality. And it wasn't until Dennis Hobson, the boxing promoter in Sheffield, and Chris Morgan, the ex-Sheffield United captain, rang me one night. We were actually training for a charity bout before Clinton Woods was fighting in Sheffield. He was billed as a Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday captain, and that really got my juices going, my juices flowing. And Chris was the same. Chris Morgan, and he's come across Chris from know what he's like. He's a big brutal man. He's a big strong centre half. And we were right up for things like that because, you know, when I do get when footballers come out of football, I do get they go on the slippery slope because there's so many things in football that you miss. You miss the camaraderie, you miss the challenges, you miss the physicality in one case. But that's just being part of the change room, being part of the dressing room, being part of something, having that discipline in life. That all gets taken away from them when they leave the football scene. And it's hard. It is hard for them. So I do have a lot of sympathy towards people who slip into bad ways or fall into dark places. And it is tough, to be quite honest. And as I say, I was blessed. I was lucky. I went straight from playing into coaching.
Yeah, well, you were coaching while you were playing. I think it was at Shrewsbury. And was it Dave Hughes who was at Cardiff City's academy now with Manchester United? He asked you to come into the youth team while you were still playing.
Yeah, it was. I think I was suspended, and Dave was short of a member of staff on a Saturday morning for the youth team. And we were playing at home, and he just said to me, "Do you want to come in?" So I went into work early, probably 6, 7 o'clock, like a madman. And I done my bits and pieces, and I went running, and I got the ball out, and I went to the gym, so I could be across at 9:30, 9 to help him with the youth team. And I loved the experience. I loved it. I was getting amongst the lads and just helping them. And we had a really, really good group of lads. Conor Golston, who's up at Rangers, and Tom Bradshaw, who's across at Millwall, and John Taylor, who's still at Doncaster. We had about 5 or 6 players that had come through. And we worked really well with them and took them back out in the afternoons and that. And I think that's where I got me. I think that's where I liked, I enjoyed, and I respected the hard work that the coaches put in. And I thought, go on, then give it a go. It wasn't until, realistically, it wasn't until Paul Sturrock phoned me one Sunday afternoon and he just gave me an address, just told me to be there in the morning for breakfast. And I'm like, he can't be right. He's not explaining where it is, what it is, what we're doing. He just said, pardon the pun, kids, but just get your arse down there and be there. So I went, and lo and behold, as obviously said then, we managed to turn the club around and bring it some great success.
Yeah, and there was a Wembley appearance in that one as well. I think you lead the club out at that one because someone else had come in to take over from Paul Sturrock because you'd been in caretaker challenge.
Yeah.
They allowed you to have that honour, I guess.
Yeah, that was a hell of an honour, to be honest. Paul obviously Parkinson's was starting to creep up on him, and he wasn't able to fulfill his duties or put the hours in that was needed. So I was more or less the backbone for him and just keeping him going. And it was we had a conversation with the chairman, and they obviously parted ways. And in the interim, I obviously took charge. But when Phil Graham came in, Phil wanted to get to know the players, so he left the week's training with me that week. And we lost. I didn't pick the team. That was Phil. But yeah, the chairman phoned me up on the Sunday morning. I think it was Sunday morning. The chairman phoned me up and he just said to me, "Do you have me soon?" And I said, "No." And he just said, "Oh, I'd like you to leave the club out today." So obviously got the suit we brought across, and that was it. It was brilliant. It was great experience to lead a football club out of Wembley as an interim manager.
And it took you a while then to try and get that bridge to become a manager in your own right, if you want. And then you say that you thought you missed the chance, really. And as ever in this game, it's someone else's hard luck is good luck for someone else.
Yeah, I had one or two little chances, little opportunities that I didn't feel was right. And maybe looking back, I should have. But I enjoyed Southend. I enjoyed the journey we were on. I enjoyed rebuilding a club that was on its knees. They'd had consecutive relegations, and it wasn't great. And we didn't have any players. It was just building it from the base. Put the development squad together. The under-23s now, it's called under-23s nowadays. But we were just the reserves in them days. We're just looking after the kids as well and training them. And it was a great experience. It was like I said, I've done 8 years at Southend, but it must have been 16 years rolled into 8 because of the amount of issues, the amount of problems that you had to deal with on a regular basis was chaos, was carnage. I couldn't even explain it. We turned up at hotels and the place wasn't booked. We turned up for pre-match meals and the bill wasn't paid. It was just, there was all sorts, clubs forever in an embargo, and You would have read it, or you would have heard about them obviously on your travels, but it was chaotic. It was just chaotic, but it was a brilliant, brilliant experience, and it was one that obviously helps you in life. I should have probably went with Darrell. Darrell had asked me on a couple of occasions to go across the Bristol Rovers with him, but I didn't. I felt I don't know, I probably felt a loyalty to Southend, and lo and behold, Phil was asked to move on at Southend. Chris Pell came in, and Chris just sat down and just said, "Look, you're not my cup of tea." I said, "No problem, no issues." Shook his hand, helped them as much as I could, so far as the squad, the club, and the background, bits and pieces. And to this day, actually, myself and Chris are really good pals, to be honest, even though he's sacked me. I got rid of me, but I don't bear grudges. But I moved on, and I went across to Darrell at Bristol Rovers, which was a story in itself.
So you came in as a defensive coach. Darrell moves on. Bristol Rovers, wrong end of the table, to say the least. You take over, and everyone starts whistling the word escape theme because you keep them up.
That's not all they were whistling at. Let me tell you, me and my family took a barrel load of abuse. Let's not be about the bush. We were abused from the day I walked into that football club to the day I left.
Why is that? They not think you were right for the job?
I was put in Argyle. They considered that to be a local rival. I was then handed the job, and I was replacing a legend in Darrell, because Darrell had got them promoted. I then had to assess the squad very quickly and move probably a legend of the football club on, and because we were hemorrhaging goals and we couldn't win tackles, we were going to go down, and I just had to get proper men into the changing room. And I suppose all three of those combined, and they just, probably took a disliking to me. Irish, red hair and freckles, I don't know. They just took a disliking to me. But I didn't like when they were actually going after the missus and kids, to be honest. That was naughty, and it's something I'll never forget about football.
Well, does that explain a little bit? And you've already touched upon the fact that you spent so much time on the road that later down the line you decided an offer from Mansfield, even though things were going well at Bristol Rovers, that you were going to step down a division.
Well, that was an error. I made an error. Not a footballing error. I made an error in life. I should never have went back into the game. When I was coming away from the game, I promised my missus I'd come away. My missus had lost her dad, and I wasn't there for her. I wasn't there for her. I wasn't there for the kids. And she was breaking down. She was upset. She was having a bad time. But I kept, all right, next week. And next week became another month, and then it became another month. I was getting towards Christmas, and she couldn't get through. She just couldn't get through Christmas. She couldn't get through. And I called it a day. But I'd handed in my notice a week before, and obviously Mansfield, I got wind of it, and they asked me, and lo and behold, in a daft version, I thought I could do two things. I thought I could look after my missus and kids and get them through the period, and I thought I could manage a football club. And I couldn't. And to be honest with the truth, I came apart, as well as my missus. I wasn't much good for her either when I went home. So I should never have done that. I should never have went back in. I should have taken my time. I should have stepped out and had a breather and got my family sorted and got my missus back on the right track. But there was a lot of underlying factors that contributed to us going or wanting to go. But most certainly, my main objective was to get home and get my family back together and get them healthy and get them fit and get them back on the right road. And then all of a sudden, the pandemic hit a couple of months later, and I must have been the only person that found benefit, shall I say, from the pandemic, because it allowed me to spend such quality time morning and late with the kids and just getting to know them and getting to know the missus.
So important, not just in football, but in life, isn't it? Let's say that perspective. It's really good to see that you came through it, because it can be difficult. obviously it didn't work out at Mansfield after a year. It happens in football. You found yourself out, but then
That was my fault. That was no one else's fault. I wouldn't blame anybody else. And I hold my hand up. I'm big enough, I'm ugly enough to accept that was my fault. Or whatever I took on, or whatever the situation, the circumstances was. At the end of the day, I didn't win enough games, and that's nobody else's fault but me on. So I wouldn't cast blame or point fingers at anyone else but myself.
but you got a new experience at the end of it, working at Sheffield United under 23s, which I guess was another experience. You've been at youth level, like I said, right back at the start with Shrewsbury, but this is a club that just out of the Premier League, still Premier League in this thinking, and again, another perspective on things, another way of looking at and taking it from.
Well, when I went in, we were Premier League when we went in, and again, that was another tough decision because obviously my background was Sheffield Wednesday, and all my lads and we pal around with, and friends they're all blue and white, and that was another tough. But it was a brilliant decision just to work with the quality of people to be in the Premier League, and the lads weren't in the first team squad that I used to get home and train with them and coach them, because I had John Egan, who was the captain of Sheffield United. I had John Egan at Southend, so I used to put sessions on for them, and that was brilliant. It was an unbelievable experience to work in the Premier League with those players, to work with the young lads. We went on an unbelievable run. I think we went. I think the first 9 games. I think we won all 9 games, and it got us to the top of the table. And then just to get the lads, because they'd never won an under 23 league, not even an under 18s league, just to get the lads over the line. I think we played no ball away. Just to see the joy on their faces and the excitement, young kids winning the league and knowing what it was all about. So that was an unbelievable experience. It was an unbelievable part of my career, the development side, and I really, really enjoyed that part. But it wasn't quite first team football. It wasn't quite the cut and trust and the adrenaline of a 3 o'clock on Saturday. But it was a great development. It was a great period.
I read an interview from you about a year ago when you're looking to get back into frontline management and senior football if you want. You said, it has to be with good people who have realistic aims. An honest, hard-working club would be right up my street. I think you found one, haven't you?
I most certainly have. I've certainly found a great bunch of lads, that's for sure. And the chairman and the board members, from the time I sat with them in the interview process, I don't know. I think in life, first impressions, and I seen the land and some of the questions they asked me. I was like, proper. These are like proper people, and I mean that in a really, really honest and sincere way. And I hope I come across as genuine. But yeah, I spoke to Flinny in fairness as well. Flinny phoned me and just said to me, listen, he says, if ever you're going to take a piece of advice from me, he says, go and apply for the job. So I asked why. He says, because it's right up your street. It's exactly what you want. It's exactly who you are. And I think it'll just be a marriage made in hell. in heaven, sorry. So, yeah, he did say that. He spoke to me. He spoke in glowing references about people, fans, players, board members, chairman, the lot. So I've done a little bit of background on it, and then obviously I made contact. I sent it a CV through. But I did have a couple of bits and pieces, and then in that year that I was out, I was waiting to go back in and things like that. I was adamant I didn't want to stay and be a 23s coach and be branded a 23s coach, even though it was a great experience. I wanted to get back in, and it was a brave decision actually. It was brave to actually sit and wait, because the game moves on and you could be soon forgotten about, and I could still be, if I wasn't so lucky, I could still be sitting at home. So yeah, it was a brave decision to sit and wait and to gamble, but it certainly paid off. And the feeling I got from when I came down from the first training session, the feeling I got was really, really positive. And I just hope I can repay that faith, to the chairman and the board members, but to the players and to the fans.
Yeah, you mentioned the fans. I think football is perhaps the only industry in sitting football management where you pass one interview, successful one interview, and then a constant interview with the fans, because you've always got to prove you're the man, really, haven't you? You've always got to prove you're the right candidate.
Well, I'm a fan myself. I travel to a lot of games. Anytime I can, I follow Ireland. I go Euros, World Cups, and things like that. I go watch Celtic and I'm partial to Man United as well, to be honest. My son goes and watches easy. My son goes and watches Sheffield Wednesday. So I think our household, we know and we suffer through results. And when football, the weekend is successful football results, you'll probably find our house is a much better place to be. The place is bouncing, and we're all jovial and happy. But when the results don't go our way the weekend, you just lock yourself in your room and you're all away. But yeah, I'm a big football fan. I'm a big football supporter, and I do feel it. And when you don't win, so everything these guys go through on Saturday afternoon, I've been there. I've been on the terraces through bad times, and we don't win many games as Irish people. We don't win, so we cherish the ones we do. So, but yeah, I certainly feel the pain when you don't win football games, and I've been known to chuck a couple of teacups and chuck a couple of wobblers when we don't win games. So I like winning. Let's put it that way. I like winning. I much prefer winning than losing as well. So it's natural.
Well, there was once where you threatened players at half time. I'll finish that sentence. It wasn't just threatening players. Where you threatened players at half time to cancel their Christmas party, and they actually turned it around to win that game, having been 2-0 down. Here, you've got players cancelling their days off on their own. So your reputation obviously goes before you, right?
Yeah, you put that politely. Half time, let me tell you, there was a few bits and pieces flying. We were 2-0 down to actually Southend. We were flying, and we won about 7 or 8 in the bounce, and we were sitting, I don't know, we were sitting second or third or something like that, league one. And we were 2-0 down to Southend, and it hurt me because it was me, the old club. And I knew they could do it. I knew they were good enough. But let me tell you, it wasn't a nice place to change the room. There was tea, coffee, cups everywhere on the windows, on the walls. The lads went out. They came in at half time. They came in at the end of the game, and they all, everybody to a man. They all sitting down real quiet. And this was the relationship we had with them. I stood up and I was like that. We could still see the steam coming out of the ears. And every one of them to a man stood up just before I delivered the final team talk at 10-5 after the winning 4-2. Every one of them to a man stood up and went, gotcha! I went, you shower. So I walked around the back because I had a couple of cans, trays for them because they were going on Christmas deal. Just picked the tray up and I just chucked it on the ground. I just says, get that into you because don't ever put me through that again. That's the last drink is I haven't. So the cans squirted everywhere. And it was a great feeling. It was a great feeling when the lads buy into you, you buy into the lads, and you get that camaraderie and that bond together. And they knew what I was feeling at half time, and they went out and fixed it. For instance,
those connections are very often what makes successful teams. You need talent, you need quality, you need experience as well. But it's the connections that obviously make the team stand out. It makes it difficult for a manager coming in. The season's already underway. Obviously, players that you haven't signed. What have you seen from the squad since you've come in?
Well, I've been really, really pleased with their work rate, their attitude, their commitment, their honesty. They're a great bunch of lads. They're an honest bunch of lads who care. And that can quite often be labelled at players who maybe languishing down that end of the table or not winning games, that they don't care. I can assure you, I've been in many changing room, and I know when a player cares and when they don't. And this group of lads care. This group of lads were hurting, are hurting, still are hurting. And I have every confidence in them that they'll turn this around. Yes, hopefully with the chairman's not listening, hopefully we'll get 1 or 2 of them generally. And we can maybe help this group grow. But I'll tell you what else I've seen as well since I've been here. There's 2 or 3 young lads that have really caught me on, and that's really pleasing. And what I enjoy, what I like, is obviously the development side of the game and the coaching side of the game, bringing them through and giving them an opportunity, because that's very much in my background, and I've been over the course myself. And I love the way the senior lads get around them, the senior lads help them, the senior lads talk them through and coach them through the sessions. And I can't wait to to get going with these young lads. There's some of them out on loan at the minute, and that one of them scored a brilliant goal. I don't know whether we've seen it last weekend. There was timing, and what a goal he got. And I love working with the young kids as well, because they're just honest, and I take so much pride in helping them and just trying to get them a career or a foot on the ladder. So, but I'm probably going off the question there.
No, not at all, because talk about a connection. There's nothing more connection, it's a great connection than one of our own, isn't it? When new players come through, and you know that there's something special about that drive, I guess. So that's clearly something that you want to target. That's something that must be sort of medium long term. Is that how you're thinking?
Yeah, I have to be careful as well, because look, Rome wasn't built in a day, so I have to maybe concentrate on immediate wins and stop the hemorrhaging and try and get us up that table. So that's obviously the immediate short term goal, and obviously the medium term goal will be building confidence, building momentum, and trying to get us in a healthy position in the league, and obviously long term will be creating that pathway for the young ones to come through. But look, I'm not daft. We know football. I know football. I've been in it a long time. You have to look after short term, because you may not be lucky enough to get mid term or get long term time, because that's of the essence of football. And if you're not winning football games, people are going to come for you, and that's just the nature of the beast, to be honest. So I have to make sure I'm focused on the right things at the right time.
How the big shops been going on, the Tesco's or the Asda's? How many of the county fans have tried to pick a team for you so far?
It's too expensive in there. I go a little and Aldi. Keep it simple, a little and Aldi. Yes. I went in, I was in the supermarket last week, and one of the young ones that was, he was a ball boy on the first game against Colchester. So I kept saying to him, come on, you need to come again, because we won that game 1-0. And so he kept looking up at his mum and dad, and his mum and dad were looking at me and saying, we can't afford it. So I was getting in trouble that way as well, but I promised him I'd give him a couple of tickets and get into one of the games, to be fair. And I love that, I love them stories. First time he's ever done that, and he won, we won as well. And I always make that pact with the ball boys and the ball girls, the mascots, before the game. I says, if we win, the rules, if we win, you come back. If we don't win, you don't come back. So it's been brilliant, to be fair. I've been out for a bite to eat as well, and they've been really, really supportive and accepting of me, to be quite honest.
Yeah, because this is a crowd that will let you know when things are going well, and let you know when things aren't going well, especially just behind the dugouts. How have you enjoyed the Rodney Parade experience?
I enjoyed it up until Saturday. I enjoyed it for the first 50 minutes of Saturday, although we weren't great in the first half. But look, it's been okay. I know it's a big challenge. I know it's a big turnaround. I know there's a big job of work to be done. But look, the lads have responded, and that's all I can ask for. I knew it anyway. I know the passion that the crowd have here, from coming here as a previous manager, previous coach, and obviously as a player. So I know it's not an easy place to go. And teams, let's be honest, teams don't want to come here. Teams don't want to come and face us, and teams don't want to play against us, because we are traditionally hard to beat, hard to play against, and we traditionally roll our sleeves up. And I'm just trying to bring all that back into the change room, into the football club, and make it uneasy and not a nice place to visit for the opposition. So hopefully the lads can replicate those of years gone by, and really turn this place into a fortress. Granted, the pitch was not always as it is today. It was we used to. I was only saying to Chris before we started, we used to have showers after the warm-up, before the game, coming in off warm-ups. The pitch wasn't always great, but it's an absolute carpet. I think I'm right in saying we got pitch of the year last season, and I can see more.
Yeah, the trophy in the cabinet over there. So if you see someone at midnight with a fork, turning it over because it's a difficult game at the weekend, you know the blame. It does look like Derby County might be coming here. It looks like Derby 2-0 up against Torquay. I'm right into radio mode then. 27 minutes gone in that one.
Keep going, keep commentating.
I'm not going to do all this.
It was on the ball.
None of the other ones are important. Fast run out of time here, but you mentioned Ireland. Never got a cap, unfortunately. But you did go to the World Cup. Am I right in thinking that?
Yes, I went to the World Cup in 1994. It was USA, yeah. We played Italy in the first game. We beat them 1-0. We played Mexico in the second game. We lost 2-1, and then we drew with Norway in the third game. And I had the rugby piggy bank to stay on, but we played Holland. We were up and down from New York to Florida. I had the rugby piggy bank to stay on, but I came back, I was like a tomato with delicious, red, and I was out in the sun. And as a young lad with a few beers on football, you know, you don't put sunblock or that now. So I was imagine the picture of me when I come back. Gee whiz, you could still see the sunglasses mark on my face, just the red and white on my face. But yeah, it was brilliant. It was a brilliant experience. I've been to quite a few of the Euros and things like that. I was in Paris in 2016. And this is we were out in Poland in 2012, I think it was. So this is loads of trips as well. So she's was for me for football.
Well, Ireland, of course, knocked Wales out in before the last World Cup. So yeah, it's nice to be at the World Cup. Yeah. Are you going to be getting the Welsh flag out then? Or can you put your Irish loyalties aside and support Wales during this campaign?
Well, I want to get out the door alive, so I'm going to have to say yes.
It's a loaded question, I'll be honest with you.
I'm going to have to say yes, because otherwise I'm not making that front door. Listen, I hope they do well. To be fair, they've got a great bond, good squad. I know Alan Neil, obviously I worked with him at Sheffield United and Pagey, people who I've played against. But yeah, you've got the magic man in Gareth Bale, and when you've got a player like that, with that quality, anything can happen. There to dream big and aim high, because look, I just think that I think this World Cup is unique. It's very, very different to anything we've experienced before, timing and circumstances. So I wouldn't rule out an underdog. I wouldn't rule out someone, a less fancied team, to go and make an impact and go and do really, really well. So why can't that be well?
Yeah, why not? Let's hope so. It is strange it being in November, December. Even stranger that things are continuing for League One, League Two clubs and below. How are preparations for the weekend coming along? Won't talk about the defeats, or do you talk about the defeats? Everyone says you don't dwell on them. You clearly sort of take them home with you a little bit.
Yeah, obviously you do. Obviously you feel it hurts you. Let's be honest, Leicester Stockport still hurt. If you want to get over that and get a win as quick as you can. But look, we played against a really good team on Saturday in Stockport. But I'm really, really pleased with the amount of chances that the lads are creating. If we weren't creating chances, I'd have my hands on my head, I'd be pulling my hair out. But the amount that the lads are creating, the amount of chances that they are providing for the front players is really, really positive. And I think in every game we should have had, again, the old adage, should have, could have, would have, but we didn't. But we should have had 2 to 3 to 4 chances. We are averaging 4 to 5 chances per game, good chances. So that's positive. We look steady enough at the back. If we can cut out 1 or 2 individual errors, we should be fine. I just hope the lads don't take the Leicester defeat and the Stockport defeat, and I just hope it doesn't set them back to where they were before I got a hold of them, because I think they've come a long way in the few weeks that I've been with them. And it's very, very hard to try and build somebody's mindset, somebody's mentality. It's very, very hard to turn players into winners overnight. That takes time, that takes results, and that takes a lot of hard work, and obviously it takes a positive environment. And they've been beat up, they've been in a bad place over the last few months. They've seen a good man lose his job, and they feel responsible. So yeah, I feel for the players. I do feel for the players, and I do believe they should have had more than we've actually had from the last 5 or 6 games. And that's what makes me feel positive, and that's why I'm looking forward for the next run of 5 or 6 games.
If it keeps on going, you might get more money out of the chairman to go shop at Waitrose, you never know. Yeah, very quickly, on January, you whispered it, you'd like to see a bit of activity, the board now covering their years.
Yeah, my daughter said she'd come down and play for us.
That was absolutely straight in their foot.
Yeah, hopefully we can maybe do a little bit of business in January, get 1 or 2 bottles in. But look, it's a difficult window, notoriously. January is a difficult window. It's very, very tough to get bargains, to get value for your money, and at times you get held to ransom. And everybody knows me, knows I'm a tight Irish man, so it'll be very, very tough to hold me to ransom. But having said that, I'm quite excited, as I said earlier on, with the couple of young lads that's coming through, and I really, really enjoy working with this group of lads. But it's like everything, it's natural in football. You evolve, you change, 1 or 2 little bits and pieces. So I wouldn't envisage massive wholesale changes, but I'd certainly be eager to improve or to strengthen 1 or 2 positions.
Well, after that question about spending money in January, I can feel the eyes staring into the back of my head, so it's probably a good place for me to wrap it up. Graham, fantastic to share some of your stories tonight, really appreciate it. And thanks to everybody for listening. There you go. So, just been instructed that your questions are probably far better than mine. So, do we have, and this is the part that Graham thought he was going to avoid, because questions from the fans are always better, more intriguing, and a bit more brutal as well, to be honest.
Got a list.
Wow! That list is longer than Rob Phillips's commentary notes. Right, do you want to go first?
It looks like she's gone first, second, third, and fourth.
First of all, what's your name?
Madison.
Oh, Madison, what question do you have?
Were you surprised at the amount of travelling supporters at the Leicester game?
Yeah, it was brilliant actually. And you know, I was only talking about that earlier on. Do you know what? When we went over to them after the game, I don't think anybody left. I think every single supporter was still there at the end of the game when we went over into the corner to cheer them and clap them and to thank them. They were all still there. And I actually, what did Leicester have? They must have had about 14 or 15,000. I honestly, and they were all behind us, I couldn't hear them. I could only hear Airlock up in the corner. It was unbelievable to be fair. And given, look, the current climate and what we're living in and all that, to travel up there on a Tuesday night like that was unbelievable. That is quality support. Did you go, yeah?
I did.
Oh, God. You were in school the next day. Yeah, it was brilliant. It was a pity, obviously, the results. But yeah, you could hear them all night. It was great, to be honest.
That was such a good question. I think you can have another one.
What made you choose Newport County?
Again, I think I touched on it earlier on. The old manager, Michael Flynn, phoned me and he just said to me, "Listen, it is right up your street. It suits you." Because obviously my character and maybe the character and the nature of the club and the supporters. But yeah, listen, it was. I looked at the squad as well. I seen his play. I was at the game, Harrogate. Harrogate game in it was September, August, September, whenever it was. And I thought he looked very, very good that day. And I looked at a couple of the players and I thought, oh, we could do something there. And listen, there's unfortunate circumstances, you know, one man's loss is maybe another man's gain. But I always wanted to go back in with honest, hard-working people, and I think I genuinely think I have honest, genuine, hard-working people around and about me, both on the pitch and off the pitch and behind me as well. So I just think it was a fit. I just think it was a fit, and it was something I was really, really ambitious about and really wanted to really pursue it, if the truth, you know.
Another great question. Anyone else? Okay.
No
Third question. One over here. You put his hand up. The answer, do you answer?
Stuart's the name. You've been here a while now, Graham, so obviously you've got to know the squad of players. Has there been any feedback from the players to you as to why the early part of the season has been so bad? Have you got anything off the players with regard to the way we were playing, the confidence, or because you've basically got the same group of players now, and since you've been here, the results have been improved. So is there any way that players have sort of given you feedback as to why things were really so poor in the season?
If I'm being honest, I don't think I would ask them. I don't think, for want of a better, I don't think it's any of my business really. I think that's between the players and the ex-manager, if I'm being honest. Whatever wasn't right, whatever wasn't wrong, and by no means, when I answer questions like this, it's really, really difficult because we've got to understand that a good, honest man has lost his job as well, and that doesn't make him a bad person. Sometimes it just doesn't fit. But I think you mentioned confidence and belief, and I just think the lads were maybe just drifting a little bit with the confidence and belief, and they were just short. Sometimes it happens for you, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you get a bit of luck, sometimes you doesn't. But I'd like what I'm looking at and what I see. I'd like the lads to be a little bit fitter. I'd like them to run a little bit more. I've instilled one or two things that was possibly not there from previous. I don't know whether anybody would have informed. I've got a 10k club where the players have to run 10k for me. If they don't run 10k for me, they come off and sit in the stand. I'll get somebody who does, because the essence of any football team is hard work, and this football club is based around honesty and hard work. So yeah, I can't understand how players, professional footballers, can't and won't do 10k in a game. So for me, that was my first criteria. We're going to come in. You must run. You must run hard. You must run fast, and you must show their passion and desire. That was my first criteria. I just tried to maybe simplify it for them a little bit, if that makes sense. And I know it might sound a bit Irish, but you put it in one end and keep it out the other, and that's the be all and end all of the game. And they have been, we've shaped them up a little bit and just put them in shape. I've explained to me defenders, if I wanted to play in midfield, I'll put them in midfield. So you're a defender, the ball comes to you, you head it, you kick it, you clear it, oh, the rest you just get it down and play. And so it's just basic roles and responsibilities. I suppose it's an open-ended question, and it's an answer I could be here on explaining, but it's just a few little adjustments to be honest. And I wouldn't go prying into another manager's relationship with the changing room. I honestly don't think that's for me to answer or to comment on. That's between them. But yeah, they I don't know. They probably just start running around, and maybe if they chuck a couple of teacups at half time. I don't know.
Thanks very much for your question, Stuart. If you see Joe Day or Nick Townsend running around the penalty area, now you know they're trying to get their 10k.
Catch the ball, Joe. That's all I wanted to do. Not run.
Derby County 3.